Okay, let's just stop and think about something for a second. What if our planet's biggest problems, scarcity, conflict, all of it, what if they weren't actually resource problems, but software problems? Today, we're jumping into a really incredible set of ideas that propose exactly that. And they don't just point out the problem. They offer a blueprint for a complete planetary operating system reboot. Let's get into it.
So right at the start, we're hit with this huge paradox. I mean, think about it. We have the technology, the resources, for a world of total abundance. Plenty of energy, food, and water for everyone. But the systems we're running are all built on scarcity. The source material calls this the glitch. It's this fundamental error message, a total mismatch between what's possible and what's actually happening.
And that, of course, leads to the big question. If we have everything we need to succeed, why does it feel like our systems are designed to fail? Well, according to this material, the root of the problem is a flaw in our collective source code. They call it the ego trap, this kind of built-in mindset of self-interest and separation that literally hardwires conflict and inefficiency right into our global OS.
Now, to understand the proposed fix, the patch for this bug, the sources say we first have to understand the family that built it. See, this isn't just about some new app or technology. This is a story about human resilience, a legacy passed down through 3 generations that actually forms the very foundation of this new code.
This timeline is just fascinating. It all kicks off with Dr. Paul Goldstein. They call him the Root. He was a survivor who saw humanity's worst system failure up close, and he's the one who identified that ego trap as the virus. Then you've got his son, David, the architect. He took that raw human drive of his father's, what the sources call a bulldozer will, to just push through anything, and he translated it into code. And now, the grandson, Avi, the ambassador, is the one bringing it to the world.
In this image, well, it really shows their distinct roles in what's called the human cabinet. It's a perfect way to think about it. Dr. Paul is the historian. He provides the painful, necessary why. David is the interface. He builds the technical how. And Avi is the ambassador. He's the one taking it global, bridging cultures and building the human connections to make it all work.
So, how does this incredible family legacy actually become a system that works? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of it, the actual hardware and software designed to power this new world.
The software is called QION. Now, what's really interesting here is that it's not your standard AI. Most AI is a logistics engine. It's all about the what and where. But QION is described as an intent engine. It starts with who. It starts with human purpose, with our context, to figure out a path for us to thrive, not just survive. And here's the ethical heart of the whole system, the QION firewall. Seriously, think of it like an autoimmune system for our governments. Any decision that gets flagged as extractive, taking more than it gives, or speciesist, which they define as anything that harms one group of people for another's benefit, it gets blocked instantly. And it's rerouted through algorithms built on forgiveness and compassion.
Okay, so if QION is the software, the brains of the operation, then ARQ18 is the hardware. It's the body. These are modular, self-sustaining habitats that provide everything a community needs. We're talking vertical farms for food, tech that pulls water from the air, solar energy, you name it. They are the literal physical building blocks of this architecture of abundance, designed to make sure everyone can be self-sufficient.
Of course, a new operating system needs a whole new economy, a new way for people to participate. And this next part explains how the whole system plans to shift power away from the few and give it back to the many, using a tool that you are probably using every single day.
The sources here make a pretty audacious claim. Your social media like, your share, all that digital engagement, right now, it's pretty much worthless, at least to you. It's just noise that other systems collect. But what if that noise could be turned into a powerful signal? What if every like could become actual ownership?
And this slide shows how that happens. For just $1, your digital activity, what some might call slacktivism, is transformed into real fractional ownership in this new system. From there, it's like leveling up in a game. You go from a passive observer to an active builder, becoming a member, then a mission-driven guardian, and maybe even an architect, someone who's actually helping to scale this new world.
And that journey leads to this, a complete redefinition of value itself. The system's goal is to change what the word profit even means. It's no longer about how much you can take. Instead, profit is measured by the good stuff it creates, peace, prosperity, and what the sources call infinite love and gratitude.
So, what's the end game here? Where does all this lead? Well, the sources present this not as some far-off dream, but as something called the Great Shift, an inevitable event that they say is already happening right now.
In this image, Wow, it really captures the entire vision perfectly, doesn't it? You see that direct transition from the gray, error-filled city running on a scarcity mindset to a green, vibrant, flourishing world. A world running on a new operating system of abundance. That's the abundance reality.
And this is where the tech vision connects to something so much deeper. The immediate goal is the urban wild, a global network of these amazing self-sufficient habitats. But this physical network is presented as the fulfillment of a spiritual one. They call it the ingathering of the exiles, a metaphor for a global homecoming, a welcome to a state of abundance they call Zion. This entire thing is managed by what they term a quantum intelligence oneness network. The final goal? A final operating system, the TYI Kingly Protocol, where peace is, by design, the most profitable and the only logical outcome for every single person.
Which leaves us all with this final thought. The material calls this humanity's final prescription, a survival guide literally built from trauma and technology. But what is it really? Is this a practical blueprint for a new reality, an actual system reboot we can achieve? Or is it a beautiful, but maybe ultimately utopian fantasy? I guess that's the question we're all left to answer.